Hello everyone. Evan Abrams back here with some more video challenges for you on Adobe Live. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for coming along for all the challenges this week and last week. It's been a lot of them. And all this week, we have been exploring more things that we can do with the new text-based editing in Adobe Premiere Pro. So we're going to keep on doing that. So hello everyone for being here. Robert, Oliver, Jack, hello. Rob, not Robert. And Umacord, hey, Annika, hello. And Cody Bear, happy birthday, by the way. Hopefully that's okay to say on here. Anyway, it's nice to wish people happy birthday. We are, today, producing some text callouts on top of a little cut-down interview. If you want to edit along with us, if you want to do the same things with the same files, the starter files are available in the description, and they're in the chat over there. And also, I want to see what you do. I want to see what you make. So please share your work with us. bit.ly/PR Discord. That's capital P, capital R, Discord. I'll see you over there, and we'll talk about all that stuff on Friday. And I'm glad people enjoy my shirt. It's nice to be a little bit colorful. We're going to continue on with our work, like I say, using text-based editing. Let's see how it speeds up our lives. Let's get into it on the screen. So here we go. And I want to make sure that you can hear coming to us over there, so make sure that I've got to get my levels right in here. So we're going to make sure that this audio is going out to you.
Going through things that I would want to wear.
There you go. We've got Andrew talking. Fantastic. Okay, we're good to go. So
they needed a koozie. That, like, anytime I work with anyone, my #1 pitch is like, what if we did a koozie? But I basically,
this is what we want to do. We want to take our little interview with Andrew here, and we want to bring forward the salient points with a little bit of text popping up on screen. So what are we going to do? We're going to produce a tiny little mogrt, nice and quick and poppy, and then we are going to put them in the right places, a little bit of a challenge, which, I will be honest with you, often takes a lot of scrubbing. We have to scrub through the timeline, find the right place. When do they start talking? When do they stop talking? What are we going to do with that? Don't worry. That's where the text-based editing is going to help us out, giving us that beautiful transcript. Then we are going to replicate the process, copy, paste, make sure everything's going in the right place. But to begin our process, just a little tip before we're too far down the road. We're going to be doing a lot of editing of things here in the Effects Controls panel. Now, the Effects Controls panel sometimes has an unfortunate habit of, you can see, jumping to different clips, and especially when we hit the start and end of this clip, bonk, like that. We want to prevent that from happening as we're working, because I want to be able to set keyframes easily here on the final frames of our various clips. So I want you to come up to sequence, and you want to come down to selection follows playhead, and that will prevent that exact problem from happening. So if you're bumping into that trouble, you want to come up to sequence and selection follows playhead. Go ahead and turn that off. Now, moving ahead on some of this wonderful stuff, what we're going to do is first, we want to transcribe our interview. So if you haven't done that, if you weren't around for the other things we got into, you can take any clip down on your timeline here, double click on it, that'll bring it up into the source, come into the text tab, and you want to go to the transcript tab of the text tab, and you'll see a big button in here that says transcribe, and you can get all of our beautiful text in here. Now, for our purposes, we want to see the transcript of what's going on here in the sequence. So we want to make sure that we're down here and we have follow active monitor turned on. Now that means that we will always be looking at the transcript of whatever is happening in our active monitor. And so in that case, this is the program interview_Andrew. Here, I'll change the name of this to cut down. And you can see that's what we're looking at. We're looking at this in the program monitor, and that's why when we follow the active monitor, we see the transcript of this displayed in here. Now that's going to be super important, because this is going to help us line up where we want our text to go. But to start with, let me just clear some of what I've already made out. I'll just go ahead and delete these so we can start it over from scratch, just like you'll be doing. Love seeing all the birthday wishes in the chat. This is fantastic. This is the kind of community we like to foster on here. My birthday's in November, so everybody keep that in mind. Anyway, so on here, what we're going to be doing is finding some place where we're going to put some text. And it doesn't really matter at this point what we want to type out, but we are going to grab our text tool, click out here, and we are just going to start typing. Let's see, 22 different pieces of merch. That sounds like a wild thing to pop up. 22 different pieces of merch. There we go. Exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. There we go. Now, step one, let's talk about styling this. Now, these stylistic features, these are things that have been with us for a little while. You're going to see over here in our essential graphics panel. This is where we're going to modify all the wonderful things about this graphical clip that we've created. And within that graphical clip, we have this text, this little bit of text, this text layer in here. And we can move it into the middle center. But before we do that, let's go ahead and make sure that we have the right size of font in here. So we are going to make sure that we have that indeed selected. I don't know, let's go big. Let's go up to like 200, something like that. And let's see, what do we want? I like to use something like active grotesque. I find that nice and bold like this. So we're going to go active grotesque extra bold like this. And Jacqueline, December 31st, my last day of the year. Oh, that's quite a... Now, do you ever find that you end up getting Christmas and birthday gifts at the same time? I don't know. That would vex me because I'm a materialist. Anyway, so we've got our text here. I want to change the fill color. I want to change it to something a little bit bold like this. There we go. And I'm not going to be able to see that particularly well, but let me just style it up to get us in the center aligned and get this into the middle center. Ooh, that's maybe too big. Let's bring that down. Maybe like 160, something like that. And I'm going to put a background behind this, and we're going to give this background a nice white, a nice light bit of contrast here. Turn the opacity all the way up, and we are going to give it some padding. We're going to pad this out, Paddington Bear this thing. There we go, 40 point like that. And then I'm going to round off the corners. We're going to round those off. Let's see, we've gone 40 out, so let's round them by 40, maybe even more. Let's go 40, 60 like this. And there we go. We've created a pretty nice looking little graphic here. We can add even more things to it if you want to drop maybe a shadow on there, maybe a stroke around things. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can get really wild with this, however you want to do it. Now, I really enjoy using the background and the padding here just to make sure that this thing is standing out and looking distinct. That's actually a little bit too dark. I'm going to lighten it up. We're trying to have fun with this thing. All right, so we go like that. And the other thing that's really great about the padding is you can see it makes up the difference between the lines. So if I come in here and I kind of tighten these up, see we are at 160, I'm going to go say -30 with our leading? Evan, don't do it. our leading here. So we're going to get that together. So that's looking pretty good. And where do I want this to appear? All right, here's the trick, right? 22 different pieces of merch. That's the words that need to go with this. And if you have this little button selected up here, automatically set in and out points, you can see down here on our sequence, we now have these two areas in and out here. You can see if I zoom in a little bit, right, it makes this nice bright column. Oh, this shaft of light coming down. And what's really great about this, if you have snapping turned on, snap in timeline, S, I can just go like a snap, and we're already
ended
done.
up making, I think, 22 different pieces of merch.
And if you're happy with that, that's all we need to do. So we don't really even need to listen back to it. That's mostly just to confirm. But because this is going at the start and end, that's giving us the area to snap into for this text. Now, one thing I will say, don't get it twisted, just because we have this area seemingly highlighted, if we were to copy and paste that, nothing would happen because that is not a type of data. This is more of a way to interface. If we wanted to copy and paste the text itself, we are going to need to double click in here, and now we can copy and paste textual data out of there. Okay. Now, I want to animate this. I know we're 10 minutes in. Time is just slipping through my fingers. I want to make sure that we animate this thing showing up and going away. I want to start and end to this. So let's make a tiny little mogrt in here, a little motion graphics template for us. So we are going to come into our effects controls. If you don't see that, you want to go Window, grab your effects controls like here. And what I'm going to do is, oh yeah, Rob, can you modify opacity if it snaps in place? Yeah, so we can modify a whole bunch of interesting kind of ins and outs. I hope that's what you're asking about, because that's where I'm going with this. I don't tend to like to do opacity changes. I like things that are really hitting us in the face with our powerful movement. And I'm going to come here to scale, and I'm going to hit a little hourglass for scale. I like to use my right and left keyboard arrows to bump us 1-2 frames. Set a keyframe, 1-2 frames, set a frame. So we're going to end at 100. Let's roll back to this mid spot here. I'm going to go up to 110, and at the beginning I'm going to come down not to 0, I'm going to come down to 10, so it's small like that. And let's play that.
22.
Pop. It's like
20.
bam, coming right at us. And maybe we want to, you know, span these out a little bit.
22.
Kind of like that. So nice, quick, good hit there. You may want to grab these and say ease in and then ease out on them.
22.
That would be soften their movement a little bit. There we go. We've got a tremendous thing right there. Suggestion from the audience. Can you do a spin as the opacity increases? Absolutely. Look, you can combine all kinds of stuff. If we want a little rotation with this, you can click on some rotation, and let's go ahead and tilt her like this so that comes down to 0 like so, and we'll go
22.
kind of like that. And then we definitely want to make sure that we are kind of easing in. And let's twirl down into here. Let's get even more exact with this. I'm just going to give that a drag like that.
22.
That's feeling pretty good, right? That's got to feel good. So that's our in. Let's give ourselves an out. So let's do pretty much the exact same thing. We are going to go out. We are going out like that. So I'm going to bring it down to 0. Tab back a little bit. Go to 110, tab back a little bit, and then we're going to go to 100. So we're
22 different pieces of merch that were based
coming and going, right? And let's see, between here and here, there's a little bit of a float, unfortunately, that's going on, and that is because if we look at our scale in here, this, as you can see on our graph here, it's not totally perfectly
22
aligned.
different pieces of.
So it causes this kind of intermittent weirdness that can go on sometimes. So let's see, I'm just going to switch that to linear, and let's switch this one here to linear, and hopefully that, yeah, that's got us figured.
Pieces of merch that were based.
Now, if we were to drag this thing around or copy and paste it around, and we start changing the length of it, you see that we're just adding more frames to the clip. I don't want to do that. I want to, and if you can, I hope you can see really closely in here where my mouse is, there's like a little blue rectangle. I'm going to try to grab a hold of that, and we're going to drag that out a bit, trying to cover up all of our keyframes. So I'm going to do the same thing from the end. And we are creating a responsive graphic now, responsive in time. So
22 different
it's doing
pieces
like
of
this,
merch.
And it goes away. Now if I grab the end of this and I give it a pull, we're stretching the part in the middle, and we're maintaining the parts on the end. So
I ended up making, I think, 22
that comes up,
stuff back in the
and then it goes away. So if you're thinking about creating little graphics for yourself, this is going to help us out a lot, because now that we've got the work done up front, we can start to really dial things in. Now there is another little thing that I want to make sure here, that this is aligned in the middle center. Now you might put it anywhere, but I want to make sure that it is somewhere good.
So I ended up making, I think, 22.
Something really dominating the frame like this, just because I'm trying to be hipping with it, folks. I'm trying to be trying to do like TikTok does.
22.
So on here, we've got this thing. Let's make more of them. Oh, sorry. One more bit of the UI that I want to come in and show you here. We know that this thing will squash and squish and stretch, because you can see the different coloring on the start and end of this clip, right? So it's a little bit lighter here, and you get this thing here. Oh, my movements always seem so fluid when we do these, and yours always seems so choppy. Now, a lot of that is down to It's all down to the easing that you put on your various properties. I come from the world of After Effects, where we are always easing these keys. So you must indeed ease your keys.
I think 20.
If you want to live a life of ease. So I don't like rhyming ease with ease is bad. Let's not do that. Anyway, I want to take this and I want to make more of them. I want to use what I've created in other places. So I'm going to copy and paste onto the timeline. Now, when you're copying and pasting, make sure that you've got the right kind of situation over here with your V1s and V2s. So you can see here that you can sometimes, hold on. Boop. Oh, I'm always getting it in the right spot. Boop. Oh yeah, because I'm going from here to here. So just make sure that if you do end up like accidentally splicing into the middle, just make sure that you've got these things here correctly identified. This is the track that we are targeting. So let's just keep that in mind. All right. So let's go through. Let's put some more of these labels on things. So I'm going to come over to the text tab, which, as we said, is following the active monitor. And I'm going to say, stop following the active monitor. I'm going to say, hey, show me the program monitor transcript only. Or you can say, show me only the source. But that's what we want here. Oh, and a question for a project like this, would be a need to add motion blur? I personally would not as a stylistic thing. I tend to only use motion blur when I'm trying to blend with other things that are in motion. I'm fine with these things feeling abstracted and artificial.
I ended up making, I think, 20.
But that's how I do. If you're more of a motion blur person, you may want to get that. Okay, so moving on. I want to start strong. They need a koozie. So, like we said, I want to make sure that I am putting graphics here. So I'm selecting those words. You see that area has been selected here on our timeline. We're going to paste, then I'm going to shrink.
They need it.
And I need this to copy. So we double click in here, we copy this, we return to our graphic. Now, when I double click on it, that brings us over here to graphics. And this is a rundown of all of the graphical text that we have going on. Double click in here, paste. Just touch that up. Now, I believe he actually said they needed a koozie.
They needed a koozie.
Yeah, needed.
They needed a koozie.
And maybe I want this to go a little bit longer, but
they needed a koozie. That, like, anytime.
But it doesn't take us any time at all to extend, right? We're getting it done. One thing that you may need to do is to just kind of realign into the middle center like this, but we should be good to go.
They needed a koozie.
And let's see, maybe I want this on 2 lines. They needed a koozie. There we go.
They needed a koozie. That, like, anytime I work with anyone, perfect. My #1 pitch is like, what if we did a koozie? But I basically did a koozie. But #1 pitch is like, what if we did a koozie? But I basically...
So we want to scrub through and find areas that we can add some more of that. Let's see. Let's see here. So we've got the 22 pieces of merch. That's something to call out. One thing I would like to call out is this. I was a stalker for a long time. This is a glaring admission towards the end. So let's make sure we put some graphics on that. So again, we are going to copy one of our graphics. We are going to select the place where we want the graphics to go. We're going to hit paste. Here we go. Now you're seeing we're cutting in. We're cutting into the space at this point. So we want to make sure that we don't accidentally do that. So that's why I want to make sure that I have my source patching for inserts and overwrites up here so that I can click, make sure that that comes in. Now I'm actually going to extend this a little bit long, but
I was a stalker for...
There we go. So that is working out quite nicely right there. It's so quick and so easy. Now, text edits are also saved on the source clip. Good to know, but don't tell me about it. If I were to edit things here on the sequence, those edits would then be reflected on the source clip as well. I'm going to go ahead and copy from here, double click here, paste. Make sure that I align this visually, click. It's about 5 clicks, but it goes like that. Now, let's play this through.
Stalker. Something up. I was a stalker.
Okay. Now, here's something that I want to point out. We have a lot of jump cuts in here, right? And we are using large graphics to kind of go over everything.
Until they pick something up.
Now, even though the graphic and the cut are aligned, we are still experiencing the kind of jump cut. So if I take this and I bump it a little bit, now you can bump clips by holding Command and hitting your two arrows, your left and right arrow keys. If I can get this to be just so, let's see if I can get that going. If I can get it so that the speed of this is showing up fast enough, I can help to kind of cover up that bridge. And
I was a stalker for a long time.
I want to hold on that admission for a bit.
A long time.
There we go. Oh, that's true. Stalker, not stalker. Oh, that is correct. Yes. That's a good catch. I guess that homonyms may throw a curveball into your text editing for sure. For sure. Those are definitely things we want to kind of be aware of and touch that up. Let's see. Let's do it again one more time for brevity while we're here. Make sure that we really hammer this idea home. Coming into the transcript, what are people saying around this part? What if we did a koozie? I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Remember, we are pasting, and we want to make sure that, again, we're not overwriting, we're not causing a gap. Another way that you can prevent that from happening is from making sure that you are selecting into your sequence instead of being up here in the transcript and go like that. Now, the reason that's happening, right, the reason why I'll just roll back, and I select what if we did a koozie here and go like that. Now, the reason why that's happening is because there's something about this panel that's overriding where this is going to end up down here. That's where you sometimes have to come in here, and there we go. Get it like that. And again, we want to double click. What if we did a koozie question mark? Double click here, paste. What if we did a koozie question mark? Which I think is great.
Is like, what if we did a koozie? But I basically did a koozie.
Now here's where we're going to try to hide that jump cut with movement.
Like, what if we did a koozie?
That works out pretty nicely. The movement of this going away is covering up that little bit of a bridge that we wanted. So there we go. It's pretty quick and painless to get these things out. So make sure that when you're doing this, I'll just run down everything that we did. It's critical that we recap all the things that we are doing. We're transcribing this thing. We're chopping it down. We did all that beforehand. Then we want to put some graphics on it. So we went in, we took our text tool down here. We typed out whatever we wanted. Right? We put that out into the world. Then we are going to align this into kind of the middle center. We gave it a fill. We gave it a background. We played with the padding. We made sure that we got nice and opaque with our background, but style it up however you like. Make sure that you style this to your needs, your desires. Make sure that you make this an expression of yourself when you share it with me on the Discord. And then we animated this thing. We came into its effects controls. We set some keyframes on scale. So setting that to go from something like 10, bumping ahead with our arrow keys. Then we go up to 110, bump ahead with our arrow keys. And then we finally come to rest at 100. And then whatever you do, however you animate this thing on and off, we used our protected regions here to create a responsive graphic so that we can quickly, as you can see, grow and shrink the start and end times of our clips. And it's going to preserve those ins and outs, but just leave the middle stretching just like this, which is exactly what you want. And then it's just a process of copying and pasting into the right places, which you can do very quickly by coming into your transcript, finding what you want to paste, selecting it in here, and you will see those in and out points, which are being set because we have automatically set in and out points toggled on here in the transcript zone. And that gives you the place to snap things directly on your timeline. Ooh, it's so nice. And you're out of there in no time. So no need to scrub and listen and re-listen and be driven mad by hearing the melodic voice Andrew Hockrattle out here, his hypnotic tones. You listen to things too long, they get embedded in your mind. But it saves you a lot of time, hopefully saves you a lot of frustration. And I hope that when you save and export your stuff, you will share it with me, because I want to see this coming to me on the Discord. We're going to be talking about all the things people send to bit.ly/PRDiscord. That's capital P, capital R, Discord. Send it to me there, because I want to talk about it on Friday. That's when we're going to talk about all the things that are sent in. Anything that we covered last week, everything that we covered this week, send them to me. We're going to review them on Friday. I must see them. I must see what you're going to do with these wonderful technologies. We did a lot of fun kind of optical illusion stuff last week, a lot of really interesting things in After Effects, and this week has been all about the text-based editing. Stick around for more here on Adobe Live. More things happening, more inspiration, more challenges. I'm back to you tomorrow and the next day. I think you're really going to enjoy what we do tomorrow. If you follow me on Twitter, you've probably already seen what we're doing. It's a supercut, a super cut coming to you tomorrow. So we'll see you then. So bye for now. Stay creative, be kind to each other. I'll see you around the internet.